For over 100 years, Iowa State University Extension and Outreach has been serving Iowans. As our state recovers from COVID-19, we will continue to deliver information and education based on research to help you care for your family, manage stress, and support your community, your business, and your farm. We're here for you now, and we will be for the next 100 years. Together, we will build a strong Iowa.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I had to pause there and remember what day of the week it was. I am Leah Feltz. I'm the social media specialist here at Iowa State University Extension and Outreach, and you are joining us for a live we call Tips from an Expert, where we bring on some of our amazing specialists that serve all throughout our state in 99 counties, 100 county offices. They've definitely got some serious credentials coming in. Today, they're going to be talking about how to elevate your relationship, really taking those relationships up just a notch. And it's perfect because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. This weekend, it's happening. All right, we're going to introduce you to our first specialist today, Anthony Santiago. Hey, Anthony.
Hello there, Leah. How are you doing?
Good. I am so excited to have you here today.
Glad to be here too as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes. Do I see a little bit of a light pink shirt there?
That is correct.
Yes.
And it is intentional.
Yes. You came here for Valentine's Day. I love it. I did go with the bright lips today, so I also am sporting that Valentine color. So we have another guest with us as well, one of your coworkers, and her name is Danielle Day. Hey, Danielle.
Hi, all.
And you were just getting a lot of screen time because you joined me yesterday. Right. We were on Instagram for a bit shorter version.
Hanging out on social media.
I know. It's kind of a fun part of the job when you get to hop on a live, reach new people, get those real-time questions. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. I love talking about this subject, so it's perfect.
Yeah, you guys, not only do you have the research and the knowledge, but you guys are both passionate, and that really comes through with what you share. So before we jump into the great and practical information you're going to share with our viewers today, just a reminder, if you're watching this live or later after the live is over, you can throw any comments, questions, or for me, I always have aha moments. I hear something and I'm like, oh, that was so good. Put those in the comment section. We love to hear from you. We want to know your questions and how we can help you. You're also going to see in the comment section, whether you're watching this live on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, you're going to see lots of links to further resources being shared. So we're going to share resources. So not only are you hearing the research in these practical, usable ways, but you're also going to be able to read more if you'd like, or share more. Maybe something's like, ooh, my partner needs to hear that one. And then also we've got some really awesome programs that are offered throughout Iowa and virtually as well, so that you can participate. If this has struck a chord and you want to go the next step, we've got the programs for you. All right, so I will be monitoring the comments, adding all kinds of resources, and taking some notes myself on this great topic. You guys ready?
Absolutely.
Ready.
All right, here we go.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Once again, thank you so much, Leah. I'm so happy to be here. And also, thank you so much, Danielle, for the opportunity to be here. My name is Anthony Santiago, and I'm the college project specialist. And I'm also part of the management team for Human Sciences Extension and Outreach. In terms of my scholarship area, one of the areas that I'm so passionate about is relationship education. So we're going to talk about one of the curriculum today. It's called Elevate. And just a little bit of a background, Elevate is a program that came from some of the work that was done, myself, along with several other extension professionals throughout the country. And this was, man, it seems like a long time ago now that we received some federal grants to create a relationship education curriculum. And so we created one called Healthy Relationship Marriage Education Training Curriculum several years ago. And that was designed for professionals working with couples. And so we used a model called NAMUM. That's the National Extension Relationship and Marriage Education Model, and it has 7 core principles. And you'll find that we are going to be talking about those 7 core principles today. But anyway, since we created that particular curriculum for professionals, we also then decided, why don't we create one for couples themselves? And so that's how the Elevate curriculum came about. And it shares the same foundations of the Hermit or the Healthy Relationship Marriage Education Training curriculum. So that's in a nutshell, for today. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague to introduce herself a little bit more as well. Go ahead, Danielle.
Hi, everyone. I am Danielle Day. I am a human sciences specialist in the area of family life. We offer a wide range of programs, all the way from kind of early on childcare to literacy to caregiving, relationships, and kind of everything in between. I always say it's kind of lifelong learning. But with that, I have really been focused, and kind of some of my focus target areas are focused on stress and stress management and relationship education. And so, like Anthony said, we're both very passionate about the relationship education piece. And so we're happy to share some tips with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle. Yep, we're really into this. And so let me start off by talking a little bit about the heart-brain connection. This is a piece that we emphasize when we are offering Elevate. And really, in a nutshell, what this is about is there is a connection, right, between our brain and our heart, and they kind of influence how we respond emotionally to all the things that's going around us. And one thing we have learned over the years is there is a direct, these responses direct how we behave and what we do, and how we feel impacts how we think, and also. Let me ask you, have you watched a scary movie, for example, or, been in a threatening situation? How did you feel? What went on inside your body? Did you tighten up, for example, or did you withdraw? Did you cover your eyes, for example? And I watched a few scary movies. I would say that's not my favorite movies. But every time there is a scene, I just close my eyes. I don't want to see it, and so that's how my body reacts. But when I watch a comedy, it's totally different. I'm very relaxed, and I can tell my heart rate is slower, my blood pressure is probably lower as well. So basically, when we feel scared and threatened, or happy for that matter, or joyful, our heart rate changes accordingly, right? And then that then actually sends signals to our brainstem, and then our brain then uses our past experiences to signal how we should act or react. And this is oftentimes called the fight or flight. You may have heard of that. So really, if we have an angry heart, for example, right, then we're going to have an angry brain. And then if we have an angry brain, then we're going to have angry action. All right. And conversely, if we have a caring heart, all right, then we're going to have a caring brain. And then we're going to have caring action. So that's something I think it's useful for what we're talking about today, because in our couple relationship, not just in our couple relationship, in any relationship, it could be as a parent interacting with my child. Same thing. If I have a angry heart, if I'm emotionally perturbed, escalated, my heart rate is up, my blood pressure is up, then I'm going to be thinking angrily as well, and then I'm going to be doing things, reacting in a angry way with my children. And I can certainly look back and realize, wow, why did I do that? I should not have done that. But at that moment, it's too late. So anyway, one other thing that I want to mention is there's also a type of touching, it's a form of communication that can also trigger our brain, how we respond subconsciously. Touching is an important part, and we'll talk, later on about some love languages and things like that. But touching each other allows our heart to align physiologically, and it can also help us to kind of mirror each other as well. So that's, I just wanted to kind of lay that foundation as we continue to talk about different aspects of Elevate this today.
Awesome. Thank you, Anthony. Like, that really helps set the stage for everything we're going to talk about today, because it's all based off of that heart and brain connection. Right. The first thing that we're going to talk about is really about yourself. It's really hard to have a great relationship and that great partnership if we are not empowered ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So it's so important to know how we deal with stress, recognize our stress signals. I know I shared on the Instagram Live yesterday, I get headaches, and I was telling Leah, I can go 3 days and think, it's the weather, it's something else. You blame everything else, and then you realize, oh, wait, maybe it's the stress. Anthony, do you have stress signals that kind of trigger you right away?
Absolutely. And when my heart rate just goes up, like I feel it, I can feel it like coming out of my body,
You see it happening, it's happening, but you don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
And so this is really where we talk about create that list of strategies or go to. In our workshop, we actually have a worksheet that you go through. And I always say, keep that go-to list, because sometimes, like you shared, the heart rate's up. We're so stressed out that we can't think of things to do to unstress ourselves. And so if you have that go-to list, you can say, you know what, I can go for a walk, 10-minute walk, got it. And all of a sudden, your heart rate can calm down. That gives you a chance to just step away from the situation, realign your mind, and get there. And so I always say that's a really great one for young kids as well. We got little kids with big emotions, and sometimes it's really hard to handle those big emotions, especially with kind of what we're going through right now. So that's a great strategy that'll help anyone in your life. And knowing each other's is also important, because I may not recognize when I'm stressed out, but my partner can let me know, hey, maybe we should go for a walk, or maybe we should go listen to some music, calm ourselves down. And it's really important that we do practice mindfulness in some way every day. And that can simply be just sitting in some quiet time, really processing, thinking with yourself, paying attention to, are there body aches? Is something not right? How are we feeling? And that deep breathing is so good.
And Daniel, I would tell you that peaceful time alone, that really works for me. I mean, that's my number one, I would say.
That time alone?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, for me, I would say I never thought that would happen. I never thought that's what I needed. And when I finally started doing it a little bit more, I realized, oh, this does help me relax, get in a better state of mind, and stay calm much longer than anything else. It's really important that we check in with ourselves often. And so, I'm going to read off some things here and just kind of in your mind, do that mental checklist. How am I on that? Or is that something I should maybe start focusing on a little bit? And so, are you eating healthy and exercising regularly? Do you have that regular sleep and wake time so our bodies are used to that? Do we notice and appreciate the good things in our lives? Practice gratitude. Are we finding ways to serve others and really utilize our strengths? Are we looking for that positive meaning in our life, that purpose? And are we managing stress in a healthy way? So that's kind of just a little checklist that you can kind of do on your own in your mind and say, oh, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. Let me readjust, realign, get back on track. And, we all slip. I always say it's kind of a continuum and with lots of humps. There's highs and there's lows with emotions and feelings. But really our overall health is kind of that overall mental, physical, spiritual, social, and emotional well-being. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit more about kind of laying that foundation, Anthony.
Well, thank you, Danielle. Absolutely. And building on what Danielle just talked about, and absolutely, I mean, we all have to start with ourselves, right? And so now, part of part of taking care of ourselves then is, how then we can basically help others. So we can be better husbands, better wives, better children, better employees. So really, these foundations that we're giving you, it applies to a lot of situations. I'd like to highlight three things, that can be a strong foundation for us. And the three is intentionality. And I think it really comes down to choices, right? And decisions. If we want to have a positive relationship, if we want to do positive things for each other, those things are not just going to happen. We have to make it happen. That's what intentionality is about. And so if I, want to make someone feel good, then how do I do that? What can I do? I have to be thinking, I have to be planning. Going on a date night, for example. I know we talked about Valentine's, I think, by the way, date night's great. I work with a lot of couples, and while it may not happen as frequently, but when it does happen, most couples say it's fun, it's enjoyable, but there's also a lot of competition for doing something like that. Our time is taken away by all kinds of distractions. So a question for you might be, for this next week or so, how can you perhaps, for those who want a relationship, to take your significant other, whether it's your wife or it's your son or daughter or friend, you want to go out and have a so-called date night, you can make it happen. But it will require some intentionality. The other choice or decision that we can make is focusing on each other's strengths. Now, I find that, it seems like there's a certain natural tendency on my part to just kind of focus on the negatives, what's not going well. And I sense that that's true for a lot of us, right? So how do we focus on the strengths? Again, that requires a decision and intentionality. And it's an important part of relationship building. If we don't focus on the positives, then we're not going to feel the positive. All right. And it's an everyday thing. And also the assumption here is that as long as we're not talking about a situation that is that involves violence or safety for each other, then we can say that you can choose to focus on the strengths of someone's behavior. All right. Try to look for what's going well. And the other one is envisioning a healthy future together. Based on what I know and based on research as well, couples who have a sense of vision of their relationship tend to do better. Being able to envision a future creates a bond with couples, and so again, that is also a decision. You have to make a decision about envisioning your future. Having a positive future is going to be create positivity in your relationship as well. Daniel, I don't know, did that make sense to you as I was talking?
Absolutely. Actually, as you were talking, you think about focusing on your partner's strengths. And I know for me, I have a tendency to go, well, but while you may do that well, you don't do this well, and we need to focus on this. So I know that resonates for me, like, oh, yep.
Right.
Maybe I could tone that down, keep it to myself.
Absolutely. And I'll let you continue on with our next topic here.
Absolutely. And actually, so envisioning that healthy future together, you're focused on your individual goals and couples goals as well. But when I think about that, I also think about that love map. And you want to create that love map and, asking about your partner's life. It seems so simple, but we all have a tendency to let other things take our time throughout the day, and we're consumed with our own day. We all have a lot going on that a lot of times we kind of forget. We should double check in, ask those questions, what's going on in your partner's life? What are their thoughts? What are their feelings, and really being sensitive to their worries and their needs. It may not be a big thing to you, but to your partner, it's a huge thing that's just weighing them down. And take that time to really think about those positive experiences that you had together. So, what was it that first attracted you to your partner? What was it that, where was your first date? Reminiscing about what we did that first time and what really drew me to you. That's going to help build that lasting impact and really be sincere in that interest. It's one thing to ask. It's another thing to be sincere and really listen and see things through your partner's eyes. And then you really want to set those clear expectations around the important things. And so when I think about that, you want to be on the same page. We want to be on the same page with money and our financial decisions, on the same page with raising our family. But also understanding we may need to set boundaries, and it may look different. And as long as we're in agreement and okay with those things, it doesn't matter what our family or our friends say. That's our decision. And it's okay to set those expectations, set those boundaries to protect the relationship. And really just, getting to know your partner well. We all evolve. We all change. What your partner was like 20 years ago is not the same as they are today. We've all grown, and we grow in our relationship, but we grow individually as well. So Anthony, do you want to talk a little bit about valuing your partner?
Absolutely. I think it kind of builds off of what you just talked about, Danielle. So obviously showing value towards each other, showing that we care about each other is very important. And earlier on, we talked about caring for ourselves, right? Which is important. But in this case, we are showing care for the other person. And that's an important part of any relationship. And so, again, it requires a certain intentionality as well. And so, as an everyday kind of thing, sometimes we think we may be showing care, but the other person may not be receiving that message in the same way that we might be thinking about, right? And so, The other thing is remembering the good and feeling the love bank. So think about our relationship as a love bank. You know, the more positive things that we do, the more caring things that we do, that's kind of like depositing into the bank, right? And anytime when we show uncaring behaviors, that's kind of like withdrawing from the bank account. So it's very important to know that the negatives tend to outweigh the positives. In other words, let's just say one negative uh, almost withdraws five positives from our relationship account. And so that's why I think it's very important to uh, deposit as much as you can, fill the love bank as much as you can. You cannot go wrong. The more, the better. Okay. Um, and also focusing on the caring, not crabby actions. I'll be the first one to say, do I get crabby? Absolutely. When I come into the house and I see, let's say the dining table is full of stuff, it's very easy for me to kind of just say something that is very crabby. But I can actually show care. Maybe I could say, oh, what can I do to help clean the table or clear the table? You know, so that's definitely a difference between crabby and caring, and we can choose to be caring. Knowing and using our partner's love language. Again, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we might show love, but then that may not be perceived in the way that we think we are showing. And so because we have differences in our love language, and so words of affirmation, quality of time, acts of service, gifts, touching. These are all different love languages that Dr. Gary Chapman talked about in his book, The Five Love Languages. And so something to keep that in mind. And then the other thing is constantly, as much as possible, showing affection and respect. And I think, again, you cannot go wrong with that. Again, that's also a decision. And respect is something that it doesn't matter, young, old, how long you've been in a relationship, just cannot take it for granted. So anyway, that all I just kind of rattled it off. So it's that's or not, but
it shows the importance of valuing our partner and valuing our relationship. So it's great. It's also really important that we stay attached. We can value our partner, but it's really important that we stay attached to our partner too. We know we can all be pulled in 20 different directions at any given time. So it's really important to spend that quality time together and then protect that time. And I'm not saying you need to schedule a weekly 2-hour date night. That seems so regimented. But really looking at it and saying, every night before we go to sleep, we're going to share our high and our low for the day, that rose and thorn for the day. Or we're going to all go around the table at dinner time and share something positive or something we're grateful for. That simple little connection piece, doing it over time and over time, can help grow where we're just automatically doing it and then we're sharing more at other times, and it's part of who we are as a couple. And so couple relationships are actually really just focused as friendships. You want to be best friends. And so it's knowing each other. And what do you do when you're starting out a new relationship? You're getting to know each other. And so you want to continue that throughout and ask about each other's days. Communication is also key. And we all know there's verbal communication and nonverbal communication. I'm going to ask Leah to come back on, and we're going to kind of throw her for a little curveball here and ask her to play a game with us.
I'm fine.
So she is not prepared for this at all. She has no idea what we're going to say. But this is really a great demonstration of those verbal and nonverbal cues.
Mm.
So Leah, you are only going to respond to what I say with the word dude.
Dude? Okay.
Dude.
Okay.
That is the only thing you can say.
Gotta stretch out.
And Anthony, do you want to throw some in here too?
Sure.
Perfect.
I'm getting nervous.
So we're each going to throw a couple statements at you.
Okay.
And imagine this is happening in your life at the moment.
Okay.
And all you can respond with is dude.
I'm ready.
So you just watched your 5-year-old eat a worm.
Dude. That's too real life for me, honestly.
I thought that one might hit. So your husband just brought home flowers for no reason.
Dude.
You want to throw a couple in, Anthony?
Yeah, okay. So, Leah, you are about to get out of the house. You get into your car and you turn the ignition on. Nothing happens.
Dude.
Okay, and then another one, you open your window or a blinds this morning, and you see snow falling down.
Dude.
So just kind of, do you see how your reactions completely different, but you had one word?
Mm-hmm. And what was funny is like my voice, my inflections.
Tone of voice is huge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Tone and those are the two things that give me away. I can say the nicest thing, but if my face and my tone aren't agreeing, then
I've always been told, you may tell us you're all right, you may be calm, but like we're watching your face and your face is telling us that is not okay and you're ready to blow.
Did I pass? Did I get an A+? I'd like.
You did pretty good.
Okay. Shall I go back behind the scenes? Or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and go back, but remember, you can play this with your husband tonight. So it's also important to remember our emotional state also plays that role. And, we can all think of the Snickers commercial, hangry. And so with that, like really just take a step back. And when you start to feel that angry heart and that heart rate going up and you're getting an angry brain, take a second and think, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? What's playing in to my reactions? And that's going to influence the actions that you have. So really just kind of remembering halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If any of those are going on in your life, it's going to influence how you react and how you communicate with your partner.
Danielle, going back to that slide, the halt, it's interesting. The halt it's actually a word, is to halt something, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you stop something. And so,
that break.
Exactly. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, guess what? You should stop and pause, before you react or say something,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. That's excellent. And the next thing that we're going to talk about is managing our differences. And obviously, all couples are different. All of us are different from each other. And, that's one thing as a counselor, as a therapist, when I work with my clients, particularly couples, and if my couple would come and tell me, what, we think the same, there's no differences between the two of us, To me, that would be harder to kind of accept or grasp, because what does that mean, to be the same, to be different, you know?
I actually described this yesterday, Anthony, and I have to
Okay,
share with you.
sure.
I told Leah, if any couple tells you that they don't have conflict, they are 100% lying to you, or they never see each other and never talk. There is no way they can avoid conflict.
Absolutely. And I think when I hear them say, we don't fight or we don't argue, whatever, in my mind, I interpret that as they don't manage their differences effectively or well, or they don't fight in a way that is healthy. But I think so-called fighting, that's perhaps a good way to fight and a not so good way to fight. And I think managing differences in a healthy way and safe ways is perhaps is another way to say that is a good way to fight. If that makes sense. Having differences is not the problem, right? So it's how do we manage? And one way to manage is to recognize and know. This kind of goes back to what Danielle talked about earlier. Is to know each other and knowing what triggers each other. And so, what triggers our emotions? And what triggers our emotions, can be from what has happened in the past, based on our history, based on our past upbringing. And so, as I mentioned earlier, about the dining table example, right? For me, it actually goes back to my upbringing. I mean, growing up in my family, the dining table was supposed to be for dining, not for anything else. It's for dining. Um, and when we get up, we have to make the beds, things like that. And so, believe it or not, that still impacts my thoughts and feelings today. So, um, and so when I come, and what I see my dining table is all cluttered, so to speak, then I'm triggered. It's entirely possible, and it has happened for me to be crabby right away. It's like to say something, that is not healthy. And so I need to learn to think differently about that and learn to look at the positives, perhaps. Again, we kind of talked about that earlier. So how can I look at the dining table that has a lot of stuff on it in a positive way? Maybe I can look at it and say, the dining table is getting a lot of use, not just for dining. It's multi-purpose. And so that's just one way to interact with each other, right? To recognize what triggers each other. Now, some of you may have heard of this four horsemen that Dr. John Gottman introduced. He says there are four things that are a no-no when we interact with one another in relationship. One is criticism. Most of us know what that might look like. Anytime when we say something that is perhaps harsh, even saying things like "Why are you late?" That can be a criticism. And of course, the other side of that is defensiveness. When we get criticism, we tend to defend and deflect. In a nutshell, it's really not wanting to take responsibility for our part in what happens, right? And then showing contempt is another no-no. Some have described contempt as a severe form of criticism. Actually, it's not just attacking the person, the behavior, but it's actually attacking the person. Even calling names, stupid or lazy. That can be a forms of showing contempt. Stonewalling is the other one where apparently men tend to do this more than women. That kind of going into this silent, mode. even having this sort of a stony silence, for example, it's a form of an intense rejection of what the other person is saying. We obviously don't want to do any of this if we can help it, not to do these things at all, in order to have a good positive relationship. And the good news is there are alternatives. Absolutely, we don't have to do this. All right, I think we're moving on to the next one here.
Absolutely. Before we move on, though, I do want to just share like one of those positives, because this is something that I know in my own personal relationship has bothered me, is sometimes your partner may need to step away, and it's okay to take a break when you're in that conflict.
Right.
But set a time to come back and discuss it. Don't just say, I'm going to completely step away and we're never going to talk about this again. No, it's important that you can disagree and you can agree to disagree.
Absolutely, Danielle. I think, some of you may have seen a glitter bottle, for example. Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you. So our body is kind of like that. When we are perturbed, overcome by emotion, our body gets shaken up. And so stepping away gives us that time for our body to settle down, much like the glitter settling down right now. Exactly. And it takes a while, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So asking for a timeout, so to speak, but at the same time saying, okay, we'll come back to it. It can be a great strategy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. I just wanted to touch upon that, knowing many times that can be a conflict, but that doesn't have to be an additional conflict to a relationship.
Right.
So another key piece of a healthy relationship is engagement. And not engagement to just the couple as yourselves, your partner, but engagement with those around you. So you really want to grow and maintain that extended family relationship and build that support and safety net around you. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through a visual here. In our actual programs, we take a ball of yarn and we all stand in a circle. And so I would throw that ball of yarn, holding one end, and I would throw it to somebody across the circle and say parents. And they would say cousins or whatever. And we would go through and start building this safety net. So we'd start with discussing who's our family support, and then who's our friend support, and positive networks, and using names even. And identifying and building how large can we make our net, and continually throwing this ball of yarn back and forth and back and forth. And then once we get past our family and our friends, looking at our community organizations that are around us. So maybe it's our local CPPC, maybe it's a local youth organization like 4-H, several different organizations that are in our community that can support us. Maybe it's a marriage and family therapist. But then also, what are other resources? And so we're going to go around, we're going to build this huge safety net. And then we throw a balloon in, and we want to make sure we can keep that balloon in the air. And we talk about what happens when we start pulling pieces of that safety net away. And what happens is we no longer have a strong safety net protecting our relationship, our family, and really supporting us. We start to lose pieces. And so that's a really great way to visualize that we need all of those pieces to help us have that healthy relationship. And so there's a lot of resources available to us through friends, family, and Extension and other entities. But Extension offers some really great research-based resources. And so if you go to our website, extension.iastate.edu, you can go to the human sciences piece, go to family, go to relationships, and we have stress management resources. We have relationship education programs. There is a wealth of information around there. And that's there to help build you and support you in your healthy relationship across the board. So with that, I think we've covered all of our tips that we were going to cover.
Woo!
Right.
I'm like, my neck hurts because the entire time I've been like, yes, like I would have been a distraction on screen. That was so much information that was just all so incredibly practical. You've brought value to my day and hopefully my relationships as well. So I hope other viewers are feeling that too. For those of you watching, whether this is live or later on when it's recorded, if you look down in the comments, I've been adding links to further resources pretty much consistently throughout. And I don't know that you guys ever really shared, but the elevate your relationship, the word elevate is actually the name of some programming you have. So it's an acronym because Iowa State University Extension Outreach, we just really love acronyms. We adore them. But you guys went through each thing we talked about, went with the E, the L, E. So why don't you just quickly talk about these lunch and learns? Because I think those are awesome.
Yeah, so we have a lunch and learn type of 30-minute segments every Wednesday. We started on February the 3rd. And so we had one just yesterday. And then we'll have, I believe, 6 more scheduled. So the next one would be February the 10th, next Wednesday at 12:15 to 12:45. Again, we'll go over the 7 modules that we covered today, and we'll each time there will be 1 or 2 strategies that our facilitators will offer. So yeah, we'd love to have you. And in the website that Danielle shared earlier, there's ways for people to sign up. Register for these lunch and learn. Yeah,
and it's important to realize that you can join in at any time, so it's okay that you've missed the first couple.
Absolutely.
Join in. These, it's focused on each individual. ELEVATE, and just a couple tools and tips that we pull out from there to really kind of hone in a little bit more and focus on.
My husband and I aren't, we don't work together, so we're away, but this is something that we could do together on our lunch breaks together. We both tune in, and then that could be, how we connect that evening. What did we hear? What was a big takeaway? So that's something I thought was interesting, that even if you and your spouse are in different areas or states even, really, you could take these lunch and learns. Is there a fee to join these 30-minute lunch and learns?
Absolutely free. Woo! And we send you each week. There's a couple copies of PDF tools.
Right.
So just like you said, we're not going to do them in the class, but come get the information, and then that's something you can work on, and that can be your date night. You're going to spend an hour working on that quality time together.
I'm going to put on the screen, we've had a few people just let us know that this was great info. Science of Parenting gave us some big high fives there. So people really enjoying the information that you were sharing. So earlier on when we talked about, when you guys were talking about, taking time and being protective of that time. One of our viewers commented that those, mom, son, that parent, that child, that interaction is so valuable too, which I know, Danielle, you kind of said this at the beginning, but most of these tips translate really well into not just those romantic relationships, but also those parenting or that child and adult, that even friendships. I'm thinking a lot of these things translate really well.
A lot of these, they influence every relationship we have. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship at all.
Yes.
And in fact, I had a situation, somebody asked how to go and do date nights during the COVID pandemic era. And I thought that was a good question because, and then so as we were talking, they were able to actually think creatively about having a date night inside their home.
Yeah.
Setting up a table or having a cooking, something like that. So it really is, it doesn't have to necessarily involve money.
Yeah.
Or time. I mean, of course, time, but in terms of doing anything splashy, you know, that's not. It doesn't have to be that way. Any kind of a simple effort can translate into a meaningful date night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I liked how you said, might not even, there's definitely ways that you can spend time together and spend money, but you can also get creative without, spending $1. So some other things that that either really hit me or I was seeing others kind of talk about. So one of them was that HALT, that acronym, which let me see if I remember. This is like me trying to retain it. The notes are over here. The PowerPoint's over here, so I can't look. It was hungry. Am I hungry? Was it angry?
Mm-hmm.
Am I, hold on. I don't know what it was.
Lonely.
Lonely. Am I lonely? Am I lonely? And was he tired?
Yes.
Because I'm always tired. So I thought, I've got a child. He hasn't slept since he was born. So hungry, angry, lonely, tired, kind of taking that, like you said, it's HALT. It's take that pause and like reflect real quick. Wait, am I really mad? Am I really frustrated? Is this really a big deal? Or am I just hungry?
Right.
Like, angry? Is it just the hanger?
And sometimes I do this periodically, especially when I'm going to have a heavy duty talk or conversation, with my spouse. You don't want to have that kind of conversation when you're hungry.
No. Feed me first.
Exactly.
Give me food before you want. Yes. No, that's pro tip right there. If you don't take anything else away, it's feed first. That's
Right.
good. I actually laughed out loud, Anthony, when you talked about reframing your mind. If you come in and you see a table that's messy, instead of focusing on that, you think, wow, this table is being put to good use, or however you worded that. That was so funny. But I've had to do that as well. If I'm gone and come home and I see that, there's dishes on the counter and there's toys everywhere, instead of finding myself angry at that moment, I think, okay, my kids were playing and they were fed. Why would I be upset about that? Because they had fun and they ate. These are good things. So yeah, reframing. But yeah, the table one definitely got a laugh out of me. Angry heart, angry brain, angry actions. That connection was very powerful. And I know yesterday, Danielle and I on our Instagram live, where we hit some of these topics as well, I started repeating, calm heart, calm brain, calm actions. What a good reminder that there's so much connection there. And if we can really start at that first moment and really find that happiness or that calm or whatever that is, it's going to shift the domino effect. Oh, that was really, really good.
And Leah, Danielle talked about, early in her segment, just going for a walk, right? I mean, that not to underestimate, just the power of just going for a few minutes walk, how much that can calm the heart down.
Yeah. We're getting some additions to our food first or coffee first.
Coffee first, yeah.
Food, please. Hunger is real. Yes. And then our Science of Parenting, who's another branch within Extension, and they do a great job of focusing on helpful tools and resources for parents. But they talk, one of their things is stop, breathe, talk. And it goes with that HALT plus HALT. It's the solution to every problem. Yes. Stop, breathe, talk. And then, am I hungry? Lonely? Am I angry? Tired? Yeah, no, I think we might have just found world peace right there between you two and the Science of Parenting. I think we've done it. That's so good. All right, let's see. We've got a couple other things. Some of those self-check-in questions, I think, Danielle, you might have listed them off. What were a handful of those self-question or self-check-in questions you listed off earlier?
Absolutely. So, and I use my handy dandy relationship wheel.
We all have one of those just, in our back.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Doesn't everyone have one? But am I eating healthy? Exercising regularly? Do I have a regular sleep? and
Yeah.
wake schedule.
Yeah.
Do I notice and appreciate the good things in life?
Mm-hmm.
That gratitude, practicing gratitude there. Find ways to serve and use your strength.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for that positive meaning in life. What's your purpose? And then, am I managing stress in a healthy way? Keyword healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, those self-check-in questions are really helpful. And some of them seem so easy, but you also referenced, creating a list so that you have something to actually go to in a moment where you're feeling so overwhelmed that you don't even know what to do. You can't even, so having a list of those questions or a list of like, okay, I go for a walk when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or what are some other healthy things that people have, shared that they might do in those overwhelmed moments?
Comedy, laughing. Humor is a huge thing. So I know yesterday I mentioned, if that's your spouse's thing, maybe saying, let's sit down and watch this movie.
Yeah.
The walk, the music, even like for me, cooking helps me de-stress.
Me too. That works for me.
Eating helps me de-stress. So guys, if we can just band together.
And you eat, Leah.
We'll cook, you eat. It's great.
That's right.
Win-win-win. Everybody's happy. Yeah, that and again, that was something, thinking outside of just that romantic relationship, but knowing those list of things that help reduce stress in your friends, in your children, in your, parents or aunts, uncles, like all those people in your life, kind of having an understanding of the things that in a stressful moment are going to help them. And yeah, I know, again, it was a yesterday conversation, but translates well today. And like, sometimes you're so overwhelmed, you can't even think of the simplest thing. Like, I just need a drink of water. Like your mind just gets so stuck in that moment. So having an actual physical list, that's, again, just such a practical tip you guys shared today that just is kind of blowing my mind. All right. This was a quote. Anthony, you said it. I typed it out as you were saying it because it was so powerful. If we don't focus on the positive, then we won't feel the positive. And again, that's so simple, but at the same time, it's groundbreaking. But yeah, if I'm not actively focusing on the positive in my relationship, I'm not going to feel the positive. That's just very powerful.
Thank you. I think, it's sometimes it's that reframing that you talked about earlier. It's a matter of how do you switch. It just takes a second.
Yep.
To go from the negative to the positive.
Yeah. But the change is huge.
Right.
And this was another one. The one negative withdraws 5 positives from a love bank. That's a scary ratio. That one negative moment or comment or whatever, that can, almost negate 5 of the positive moments. That was really powerful and a big gut check. I know, like, whew. And a good reminder that if there is one negative, that I gotta be on the ball with my positives, because we got to build back up. Love languages. Can you guys list those off one more time? Maybe, and I know you spoke to the book and the author, so maybe repeat that if people aren't familiar with those.
Yeah. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gifts, and touch. And so obviously, it's fair to say, at least from my perspective, we're going to have all of this maybe in some ways, but we're really talking about what's our primary love language, and we all will have secondary and other languages as well. But I thought it was useful. I remember this was some time ago on Valentine's Day, waiting on Valentine's Day to buy a dozen roses, spending $150 to give it to. At that time, my wife was my girlfriend. I was waiting for this great, hooray! Thank you,
dude.
Exactly. So I quickly realized that okay, giving gifts may not be the primary love language for us.
You just got a dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what did I do?
Yeah, like
Right.
you're not excited for these? No? Oh, okay. I'll do the dishes. Yeah. Knowing what yours is, knowing what your partner's is, or again, your friends, your kids, etc., speaking to them in that language, because oftentimes it's not the language you want to be spoken in. Figuring those out, that's huge. And then I know I've been married long enough that my husband and I have found that these can change from time to time. There's times we have to reevaluate. Hey, you used to respond to this in this way, and now it's just doesn't seem to be your thing. What are you leaning towards now? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I tell you, relationships. Am I right? The good news is you've got the support.
Absolutely. If there is one takeaway from today, I would say for Valentine's Day, it is like I encourage everyone to speak to your partner's love language.
Yes.
Think about that and give a gift that is relevant to their love language.
I would agree.
What a good, and share this with them, probably just
right.
Tag them in it if they're on Facebook or YouTube. Yeah. Wanting to highlight, this is also in the comments. It's a longer thing, but if you are a professional that works with families, couples, youth, that there is a training that goes, you're going to have to tell me the name because it's an acronym. I don't remember all the
Healthy Relationships Marriage Education Training.
And there's some continuing education credits that can be received too. Yeah. So if you're a professional working with families, children, and you're needing some of those continuing ed credits, there's also opportunities for you. As well as I'm going to put those lunch and learns up one more time. The link's in the comments, so you can click on it. It'll take you right where you need to be to get more information and how to access those, because we still have more coming this month and next month as well.
Yep.
All right. Well, again, we've had a lot of comments just enjoying the information you guys are sharing. Thanking you guys for coming. We do seem to have a lot of people really chiming in on the food first before. So that's yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, if you're watching this after the lives ended here shortly, feel free to still add any comments or questions or any of those quotes or aha moments you have. Check out all of the links, the great resources, as well as some of the opportunities through some programs or some of those lunch and learn opportunities. Here is some contact information for both Danielle and Anthony. You can reach out to them with any specific questions. They will be happy to find resources that are going to support your life where you're at. Here's our handles for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on all of those. You get a nice look into the extension world through our social media platforms. And we also like knowing what else you want to hear about. So if there's other thoughts, extension covers the gamut. We can talk to you about relationships one day, and we can talk to you about pesticides and insects in your garden the next day. We're very well-rounded. So whatever you're wanting to hear a little bit more of from our specialists, we'd love to bring that to you. Just put it in the comments or send us a message. Danielle, thank you for coming. Anthony, thank you for coming. This was amazing. I took quite a bit from this. I hope our viewers do as well. Right before we let you guys go, I'm going to put the Iowa Concern hotline up here. This is a free resource through Iowa State University Extension and Outreach, available 24/7. You can call this number or you can find them online for some other live chat options. Iowa Concern is here to help you, no matter what that help is. So reach out, again, free 24/7. There's stress, financial, disaster recovery, all kinds of support for some of the things that you guys might be going through in your life. All right. Thank you again, Anthony, Danielle. Have a great day and a happy Valentine's weekend.
Thank you, Leah. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.